Hello and welcome back to the end of another week. We are out in the garden, and if you all didn't know any better, you'd think I was still in California because today is gorgeous. So we're out in the garden because we've had several pretty decent freezes. I mean, it's fairly temperate here, but it definitely gets below freezing, and we've had our share over the last 2 weeks. So my ground cherries are toast. They do not like freezing, obviously. But I did get a few. I've actually been eating them, but I saved a few for you to see. So yeah, you just you pop them out, and they're like these little things, but they taste very fruity. They're kind of, I'm not actually sure how to describe them really. But I like them. I only ever had them here, so don't really know what to compare them to. But they're called ground cherries, and when they're green, a lot of these got shriveled up because of the freezing here. Actually that one's pretty good still. But yeah, a lot of these are not as great because they're I think they're basically like a tropical type fruit. So yeah, a lot of them just kind of shriveled up inside, and they're still green and mushy, and that's not great. So this one and the other one that I have over in the front of the house are going to be pulled out. I cleared all the squash. Not going to be growing squash here next year because that sea of leaves just wasn't really working for me, and you can see all the the remnants of the leaves. So what we're thinking about doing is over here, since this is kind of like no man's land right now, this immediate space right up in this area, basically all the stuff that's seemingly pretty fertile because all the stuff is growing in it, I want to turn into a chicken run. So we'll have the chicken coop and an enclosure pen kind of on that area, and then they'll have a big open space to run around here. So that's the idea for this immediate neighboring spot. But the area over there, which is basically barren, nothing grows there, but I'm thinking about trying to grow some squash. Basically along the fence line here, I'm thinking about pretty much digging up a trench, putting in some compost, putting in some fertilizer, and then sowing a bunch of squash along that perimeter, and then just letting them, do their sea of squash thing in this area, because right now we have no plans for that space over there, so why not use it for squash? This space is still a work in progress. I did order a bunch of potato bags because I want to order potatoes, but I don't want to plant them in the ground for multiple different reasons. So I'm going to do them in containers. So those are going to be coming in. I also want to order some self-watering pots for the tomatoes, because I tried the tomatoes here and they got blight. I actually talked to the neighbors that are way over there, and their tomatoes also got blight. It seems like blight was just a thing this year, so I guess I don't feel too bad, but I think maybe the tomatoes might be better if I controlled them a bit more. So I'm thinking about putting them in a in a container. The strawberries from that bed will eventually get transplanted to this bed, which obviously needs to be weeded, and I probably need to put down some more dirt. Because of the weather, the grass isn't growing so tall, so we haven't done anything to handle the grass. This is where the blueberries were, and my little tea tree, my little tea plant. But everybody's looking pretty sad. As a matter of fact, the blueberries, most of them actually look like somebody came and ate them. I mean, that one still has some sticks, but these other ones look like they were eaten down. Obviously, I haven't been out to weed this very much. I'll take you inside to show you what's going on in there. But this week, Francis actually finally got COVID. So he's been sick, and I've been kind of taking care of him. And thankfully, I don't have any symptoms. So far, I've been testing negative. I will continue to test. But we haven't really been to the house at all this week. So inside the house, there's not much to show you, but I'll go ahead and take you in and show you what we have. Oh yeah, this is the other ground cherry that froze to death. So he needs to be cut back. And actually I have some other plants out here. I did already trim this sucker down, but I have some other plants over here, the lavender and latana and spider plant, that also apparently don't like to be frozen. The spider plant looks really, really, really bad. But if you look way down in there, there are still signs of life. So yeah, she and all her babies froze to death, but I'm convinced she'll come back. The lantana, I'm also convinced will come back because last year I cut it down to a stump and I was convinced that I killed it and it came back. And the lavender is massively overgrown here. So these are kind of some new growth in here, and I'm hoping to try to like salvage it by gradually kind of trimming off the old growth and letting the new growth come in. So we'll see how that does, but I might end up just yanking it out and replacing it. But let's go inside and check it out. So before we go inside, here's another look at the wood. We are plowing through it. So next year we are absolutely getting more wood. As a matter of fact, we talked about it, and originally, so this year we had gotten 5 steers, which is what we had piled up in here. We're going through it so quickly that we're planning on basically clearing out the rest of the space, and next year we're probably going to order 10 to 12 steers and basically stack it all the way to the ceiling here and then just bring it forward every however big the logs are. These are 33 centimeters roughly. And the next size up, I think, is like 45 centimeters. So depending on how they actually cut it, these are actually pretty small for 33. So if the same guy also cuts his 45s at a little smaller, they should still fit in the inserts that we have. But basically, we're just going to stack them up like that and then bring that stack forward. Rather than having this like L shape thing. We thought that would look prettier, and I think it does look prettier, but ultimately to last a winter here when we're here full time, we're gonna need a lot more wood. But let's go in and check out the rest of the house. Okay, so inside the house, I wanted to show off our fancy solar thing because you can tell right now it's so sunny outside that the battery is fully charged. It's not blinking, so it means the battery is full and it cannot hold any more. But right now I have the laundry going I have the dryer going. I had the dishwasher going, and we have the thing for the insert going as well. Plus we have all the, like the fridges and freezers and stuff. So that's pretty cool because basically today we're running everything for free, which is kind of awesome. Up in this space, Francis replaced the mechanism for the fireplace, so we have the fan going and it doesn't sound like Armageddon. You can hear it. That's on high, but before it sounded really horrible. And I'll go ahead and throw in photos of the old fan, which probably hadn't been replaced since this thing had been put in, and the grill, which basically they were running their fire so hot that it melted the grill. So in here we have a replacement grill there. We put in the replacement fan down below, and now and we cleaned it really, really well. So now the whole thing's running pretty well. Because they were running it so hard though, the back panel of this thing is actually cracked down the center. So we have ordered a new insert panel for that, and it's coming in. But yeah, it's great, and it's quiet, and it's pretty awesome. In the front room, we have some wallpaper. It's not a completely blue room, but the painter was here, and he painted the ceiling. So the ceiling looks very, very white. And he started putting up the wallpaper because the air conditioner guy is coming out tomorrow, and that is where the air conditioning unit is going in this room. So he at least got the wallpaper done for that space. And then if I come upstairs, he's done all the painting on the ceiling and painting this big panel here. And as I said before, this is all going to be blue. So that's happening later. Originally this whole thing was going to be blue, but the painter was a little concerned about wallpapering over this box because this box has the roll-up shutters that protect this door. So after a lot of going back and forth, we have decided that we're going to leave this white. So the painter will go ahead and just paint that white. And we're probably going to like trim it out and then maybe put some art up there or somehow make it a feature. We're not really sure, but we did agree with the painter that it's probably best not to wallpaper it, because if anything happens with that shutter system, then we'll have to break into that space. And we've already had to break into the shutter for my space because that got jammed. So it's not uncommon that happens. Nothing much is happening in the bathroom, and in the bedroom, we have a floor because the insurance finally got back to us and said that they would reimburse us for the labor. And we have already been reimbursed for the labor, but we're waiting. We need to contact them about the supplies. But yeah, this is our floor. It's looking really good. And we'll have to, put the wallpaper back up and put the baseboards back on. So yeah, I guess the silver lining behind the whole water heater fiasco / bedroom flood is that we really like the floor in this room now. We think it looks really awesome. We're super happy with it. So yeah, Francis is starting to feel a little better. So maybe this week more will happen on our end. But things to come, the painter slash wallpaper person will be coming back to put the wallpaper on and to paint the box up there. So that should be done by next week, because he says it should only, like, he's only planning on being here at most another week. The air conditioner guy is coming out tomorrow and says it'll probably take 1 or 2 days. He's putting a unit here, he's putting a unit in the bedroom, he's putting a unit up in Francis's office, and we are adding a unit into my space. So speaking of which, so this salon, nothing is happening. It's literally the last room in the house that we're dealing with. But in my space, I think the plan is to put the air conditioner maybe above the door or maybe over here. I'm not exactly sure where it's going, but it's going somewhere over there to make it easier to just drill through the wall and put the hoses out that way. I've brought in my pieces of my broken shed thing so that it can dry out. I didn't show you that earlier, but we can come out this way, and it's so sunny. It's really, really warm too. It's really, really nice today. This is what's left of my little garden storage shed that had fallen over. Like, I had assembled it and filled it up with stuff, so it was not light. It was pretty heavy, but the wind here is insane. So yeah, the whole thing basically toppled and broke, and so now I have to attempt to fix it. So we'll see how that goes. In other random news, we did bring peanut butter blossoms to the neighbor who lives way over there in that house right there. And he and his wife owned like all the land around us, like literally. Like, they owned the property up there all the way to like the road back there. They owned all this to the forest. They don't own the forest, but they owned all this agriculture land. They owned the section there. They own all those little, like, I don't even know what they are, in the trees over there. And then even beyond that, they owned a lot of property. But they have retired, and they confirmed that they did sell off everything except for what's like way, way, way over there. So that's great. The people who bought the property right in this area are horse breeders. So I love horses, and that means that there's going to be a lot of like horses and baby horses. So that's exciting. But it does mean that somebody bought the land that surrounds us. So if we wanted to potentially buy the little lot that's on the north side, we'd now have to talk to somebody else. Realistically, I think that would be way going off the deep end. I'm having a hard enough time figuring out what I'm going to do with the space that I have up there. But I do have plans, and we'll see what happens this year. Not all of my plans actually come to fruition, but we'll see. In the meantime, yeah, I think that's about it for this week. And I will, see you next week. Bye. Have a good one.